Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of GOTR, Google Trends Investing, with myself, Nolan Antonucci, before I explode, which will happen in a second, from the Dumb Money Discord group. There it goes. Since I last posted a video about the election on the yard signs there, I have cracked 1,000 subscribers, despite not being a good once a week poster, which I'm going to hope to do better on. I said that before. But again, I've really wanted this next video to be a really good one. So I have a lot of background in the e-commerce landscape. So in this video, I shared about C Limited, which owns Shopee. So that's in Southeast Asia. And I thought that'd be a great video. I want it to be a really good one. I'll probably do a deeper dive, but in the meantime, I'm going to try to get through, I think I have like 12, it's probably more than 12 Google Trends charts. I want to try to hit it before the 10-minute mark. And then I had a few kind of parting ones there. But so yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to hit on Shopify, Etsy, C Limited, Jumia, so that's a company in Africa, Farfetch, which has kind of luxury goods, Wayfair, selling, you guys know that, but selling furniture stuff around here in Boston, Chewy for pets, Amazon, I'm not going to ignore the big player. I'm going to come back to Shopify, and then I do have three thoughts at the end on Xbox versus the PlayStation 5, so the Xbox Series X versus PlayStation 5, Bitcoin getting close to $20,000, and then the S&P 500 inclusion of Tesla. So a lot here, but hopefully you stick around. I'm going to probably talk even faster than I usually talk, but let's see how I do. So I have been communicating with a member in the Discord community. His name's on there. He's on Fattest Rabbit, but he's actually Alex. He launched a YouTube channel here that has already, some of his videos have almost 20,000. One's got 30,000 views on that, 35,000 views on that one. So some incredible content about ARK Invest. So the fund that kind of is built off of disruptive innovations, and one that's so they always talk about kind of where in the innovation curve are they. So e-commerce is earlier in the phase and already starting to kind of see that S-curve type adoption, but a lot of these other ones, genomics and autonomous vehicles and things like that, are a little probably earlier in the curve. But I'm trying to know what's next. I don't want to just be an e-commerce investor guy, but I've got some pretty good successes from that. Another YouTuber that's only got 31 views on one of his videos here, but Thomas Wise got some great video content too, so I've been kind of watching his to get a quick recap on the Jack Schwager, so the guy that interviewed Chris and some other really successful investors. So I'm always trying to kind of borrow on ideas of other people to see how can I evolve. So if anyone else has good YouTube channels that they've kind of created or things that they turn to, please share them below. I'm really appreciative of getting the shout outs that I have, and I want to kind of pay it back a little bit. But again, today is Cyber Monday, so on Friday was Black Friday. The big news, or the big press release that Shopify released, was about how successful Black Friday was for their sellers. So it was a 75% year-on-year number that they released, so that's 2.4 billion. So if it's 75% as a small little sample size for Black Friday, I'm not going to say it's going to be extrapolate out and that'll be the way it will be for all of this holiday Q4, but I think it's an indicator of how big this year has been and how much shelter in place has kind of brought the future into the present. So I think in the early stages, Shopify was talking about how there were 10 years being brought up. I think it's probably closer to more like 5. But yeah, so let's gonna hop in there, and I'll show you that. I guess I do have it here. So I'll get back on track here. So we've got Black Friday. We have 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. And again, I don't think the Google Trends chart is all that important, but I think it's interesting to see that where there's Black Friday 2020, certain parts of the world is still kind of already more volume than the year before. So I think the main part I wanted to illustrate with these two here is that these e-commerce type searches are actually, maybe it's kind of older news for the US, but there's plenty of parts of the world where e-commerce is still emerging. And again, I think the question is going to be is how much of these shelter in place habits, that whether you're sheltering in place in Nigeria or sheltering in place in Indonesia, how much is that going to stick with it? So there's this guy, he's also on Seeking Alpha. He posts his video, some of his content there. But Benedict Evans is really, it's some pretty impressive content. So I always look to, he has a big year in review release, but check his out. But again, I really feel confident that we are 5 years in the future. Even just looking at some of our e-commerce clients, that's very much the case. So, but again, yeah, my background is in e-commerce. We have e-commerce clients, about 400 of them that sell direct to consumers. Some of them sell on Amazon as resellers. Some of them sell direct to consumer on Amazon. So all kinds of different products in all kinds of different areas. So I've seen clients be leaving old WooCommerce platforms or old Yahoo platforms and going to Shopify. So this is probably this Google Trends chart is probably gets the most credit for me growing my portfolio to where it is now, which is seeing clients leaving to go to Shopify, and I can see them that when they're making that consideration between Shopify versus Magento, there was more often that Shopify was in that search than Magento was, and that split happened here in 2015. And it only continued, and I was able to keep scaling my position, and it's treated me quite well. But again, I'm always kind of looking, are there other parts that are early on in this adoption phase that Google Trends can give me an indication of? And I think that's where mine's a little bit different than the guys at Dumb Money, where again, I still have been playing of late these like kind of Logitech type swings and things like that, and then kind of getting out of the position or taking a lot off the table. But I'm still looking for kind of longer term wins and seeing this data that is kind of clearly telling that story of adoption. And one that I feel pretty confident on is that this, at least at this point, it's very much been sustained, and that's Etsy. So this is all 5 charts of very specific to kind of e-commerce or Etsy buyers, Etsy sellers. I guess these first ones are sellers. Etsy, like how much? So there's a subscription fee you have to pay at first. You have to search for how much you have a fee. So even just to list your Etsy face mask on there, there's a fee around it. Etsy accounts, Etsy tracking codes, stuff like that, and then Etsy app is kind of more relating to people actually using the as the seller side or as the buyer side. But I think I get a little fancy sometimes with those combinations. I think it's important to look at it, but it isn't kind of, you don't want to lose sight of just kind of the core. What's the word Etsy alone? And I do try to remove these with like removing stocks or earnings or investor. But you can see it's not much of a difference at all when it's such a high consumer-based search and not people looking for searches. Where if I did this for Neo and I subtracted the word stock, you're going to see that the Chinese car manufacturer, a lot of their, I think 80-90% of their search volume goes away by removing that. So we see here Etsy login also climbing up. So again, Etsy, I feel very, very confident in Etsy's being going to continue to grow. And I check out the earnings report that came out, I think a week and a half, or maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But they kind of really did well on earnings. And again, we've seen some pretty crazy year over year. So they even kind of broke out their face mask stuff. So again, I try to, certain companies like this, I really do care about looking at their earnings reports to get an understanding of e-commerce as a whole there. But transitioning now to kind of another emerging market is in Southeast Asia. So you can see these colors and around Southeast Asia where it's really clear that these companies are taking off. So it's really the battles between Lazada, which is owned by Alibaba, and then Shopee, which is owned by Sea Limited. So a kind of a small player going against the big, the world's biggest in terms of actual revenue, the biggest e-commerce company in Alibaba. Even like a singles day, it was crazy how much that dwarfed. So 11/11, how much that dwarfed anything that goes on Black Friday. So some really important periods have already some battles have been some kind of been waged between Shopee and Lazada, and this is going back to kind of where there's a lot of interest in the U.S. now about these kind of, like I call them a meta social art play. So people are actually interested in the stock. So if you're searching Sea Limited in the U.S., you're kind of caring about the stock. So again, I'm trying to layer that considerations into too in terms of when and how do I scale positions a bit there. So looking at this one here, we have Shopee login in blue versus Lazada login in yellow. Blue versus yellow, you can see the split away there. Shopee app versus Lazada app, red versus green, red taking away from green. And you see Lazada tracking going down in purple, yet if I hit the back button and it's going to be Shopee tracking, you're going to see it's been kind of staying, if not picking up a little bit. So I feel very confident in my Shopee position as well in terms of their ability to beat Lazada. We do see here Shopee Pay. So Shopee Pay taking position above, or Shopee Pay